All right, let's learn how to make an ornament on the Glowforge with a photograph. These results aren't perfect, as you can see, but I have found this strategy works pretty well if you have a pretty decent photo. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your photo and you'll open it inside of Photoshop. The better quality photo you have, the better it works. This is a screenshot off of the internet, so it may not be the very best quality. The first thing I'm going to do, so right now if we look right here, you can see my photo's at 100% size. So this isn't going to be the best quality. Let's go ahead and look at the image size. So if I go to image and image size, my resolution's 72, but it's an 8 by 10. So I want to make the resolution 300 because we're printing. And for my width and height, we'll go ahead and make it somewhere around 5 inches. You'll notice that when I change my width, it makes the height a proportion of that. So if I undo that, you see it was 8 by 10. If I make it a 5 by 6, that's closer to 5 inches, so that's great. Whatever you do, don't uncheck that and make them both 5 by 5 because it'll distort the photo. So, all right, so mine will be a 5 by 6, resolution 300, and alrighty. I think this should work okay. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my photo black and white. So I'll go to my adjustment layer and I will click black and white. And you'll notice that I have all these bars here. I don't want to just leave it as is. What I want to do is I want to expose this for the faces. So when it comes to skin tones on the laser engraver, you do want things to be fairly light. I don't want to worry too much about the background. I'm just focusing on the faces and like what's going to stay in the photograph. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to keep making more adjustments so we'll see that. All right, so that's the black and white portion. Now we're going to do something new and we're going to open up the histogram. So if you go to Window, Histogram, you'll see you get this little bell curve. So this bell curve, what it does is it kind of shows you, like, is your photo balanced? Let me give you an example of a histogram here. So you'll see that if you have a photo that's histogram is way over here, then it's too dark for the laser, and if it's way over here, it's too light. So you really want it to be kind of centered. So that's what I'm aiming for, and that's what I already have. But if my histogram was off, what I would do is I'd go to Image, Adjustments, and find Exposure. Notice mine's missing. That's because I'm actually on my adjustment layer instead of my actual photograph. So I'm going to go to my real photograph, or my photograph layer, go to Image, Adjustments, and Exposure. And if I go to the gamma correction, see how it really darkens or lightens the photo. But again, my photo is already pretty good. So I'm just going to try to center that curve as much as I can, and I'll say okay. Now this photo, I'd say it's a perfect photo should be pure black, pure white, and a range of grays. I can tell this still needs some work. So now I'm going to go to Levels in my Adjustments panel, so I'll show you that again. So it's right here. And inside my Levels panel, I have my white slider, which I can use to make things brighter, my black slider, which I can use to make things darker and increase my contrast, and then my mid-tone slider, which I can adjust as well. And again, on faces, we want them kind of bright and light, otherwise you lose all the features. So I'm going to do my best to keep the faces bright, but also get some detail and contrast in there. So that looks good. And then my final adjustment layer that I'm going to do is my curves. So my curves, typically you want to use this part of your curve to pull down, and that darkens. And this part you pull up, and that brightens, and it increases the contrast. So let me show you the before and after of that. So that's before and that's after. And it's so great. It does just a perfect job of increasing my contrast. All right, so that's all I'm going to do with those adjustments. My next step I'm going to make is I'm going to go in and I'm going to sharpen my photograph. So this is a moment where I have to go back to my layer of the photo, and I'm going to go to Filter. Something's not working. Filter, there we go. And I'm going to say Sharpen, and I'm going to say Unsharp Mask. Now for the unsharp mask, you really need to go in and sharpen your photo. So let me show you again what this should look like. So this is the moment where you're like, okay, am I doing this right? So this is no sharpening, where things look really blurry and soft. This is a little bit of sharpening. This is perfect because it's crisp, it's clean. That's like the laser engraver is going to see that and it'll engrave it well. Whereas this is too much, and it's too sharp for a great engrave. So we're aiming for really crisp and clean, not over blurry. And so if I look at this, you can see this is the before, a little blurry. This is after, and it's a little more crisp. So I think that where I'm at, this radius of 2.8 should be good. Yeah, I think, or 2.4. Yeah, that's great. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the background because I know that that's going to get really busy and distracting in my engraving. So you can see in this ornament, I removed the background, but I left the foreground. And in this ornament, I left the background, but when I printed it, I kind of lost the deer in the field. So I think I'm going to reprint this with no background. Okay, so I have my photo layer selected. I'm going to say select subject, and let's see how it does. It did a pretty great job, and now I'm going to click on my layer mask right here to remove that, and you can see that with the hairs, there's kind of some funky little flyaway hairs that are going to be an issue. So I'm inside my layer mask. I'll take my brush tool, and right now I have an enormous black brush. So I'm going to make this brush about 60-ish% hard and quite a bit smaller. And I'm just going to brush away some of those flyaway hairs because I just think that the laser engraver might make them look funny. Maybe make my brush a little bigger. And because I'm brushing away hair, maybe I'll make it softer so it kind of creates a little bit of a softness. But anyway, so I'm just brushing away areas that I don't want on there. And if I mess up, so let's say I accidentally remove that, I just switch my brush to white and I can bring it right back. So remember, white reveals, black conceals, and I'll bring it back to black and just kind of clean up around her head. All right, that should be good. Now, my next step is to draw a circle around them because this is an ornament. So I'm going to take this guy right here. This is my elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to draw an ellipse around them. And I'm holding, whoopsie daisy, let me do that one more time. I'm holding my shift key and my space bar so I can move it around. My shift key makes it a perfect circle. My space bar allows me to move it. I think that is going to be perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead, this is a new thing, I'm going to say apply layer mask. And what that does is it kind of gets rid of the previous mask. So that's now a destructive edit. I can't get the background back if I wanted to. But now I can add another clipping mask. And there it is. I'm going to show you that one more time. So what I did, if I right click on my layer mask, I can say apply layer mask. And now what it does is it removes that background permanently, and I can apply a new layer mask. So I've got my circle. I'll bring them down. It's time to add text. So now I'm on my ellipse tool. Before I was on my elliptical marquee, which is a selection tool. Now I'm on this ellipse tool, which is like a shape or a path tool. I'm going to go up and I'm going to say path, and I'm going to draw another perfect circle around them holding shift. My space bar allows me to move it. You can see that I've got about the same size circle, but I'm going to shrink it down a hair so I can put text on here. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So if I take the type tool, and once I scroll over that blue line, it gets squiggly. So that squiggly line means, hey, I can drop text. Maybe I'll say world's best teacher. And then I can take my direct selection tool and I can slide it over. Oh, it's being finicky on me. This is the world's meanest tool in Photoshop is what it is. I'm actually going to take my move tool and I'll just rotate it. Whoopsie daisy, like that. Because that might be a little easier. But the idea is I'm kind of mimicking this circle fashion. Now, of course, I need to play with different typefaces and make my tracking and kerning all awesome and make it big so that it's readable. So spend a little time doing that. Okay, so you can see I drew a circle around mine so I could see like where the edge of it is because I felt like something was wrong with my text and I was right. See how it just doesn't flow with the curvature of the outer edge. So I'm gonna make a few adjustments so that it flows better. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so again, now it flows better with the curve. It's not perfect, but it's getting a lot better. And yeah, it's got a nice, consistent circular format. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the ellipse that goes around it. And the last thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I take all of my type. So I'm gonna select my 2 type layers and I'm gonna go to layer and I'm gonna rasterize my type because if I don't, the Glowforge won't read it. So I go layer, rasterize type, and now my type is no longer editable. And so you can see that on the layers panel, I can't edit it anymore. So it is now just pixels. And then my final step is to go to File, Save As, and I will save it as a Photoshop PDF and say save. And I am ready to take this baby to the Glowforge.